do we have here? Well, we can see that it is a part of the gastrointestinal system. It's been opened up. You could see very thick plicae along here, so you know that it's either a small bowel or duodenum. And we see an area where the mucosa and perhaps a large portion of the wall are gone, like a volcano crater, and there's only a thin portion of the wall left. This is a very deep, penetrating duodenal ulcer. Let's take a slide through this that way. And I think we can appreciate that here is the pretty much close to the full thickness of the wall. Even though we don't see the entire mucosa, we see part of the mucosa, the muscularis mucosa. Then the majority of the thickness are these Brunner glands, which fill up the submucosa. And then we see the circular and longitudinal muscles of the wall. And because the duodenum is largely retroperitoneal, it's not likely we're going to see a true serosa, but this loose connective tissue is adventitia. Well, look what has happened over here. About 90% of the wall is lost. We don't see any smooth muscle in here. We don't see any submucosal Brunner glands. We don't see any mucosa. All we see is some extension of the serosa in a small, fibrous, thin area. And that's the only thing that's separating the entire gastrointestinal contents from either the abdominal contents or the retroperitoneum. This is a very deep, penetrating ulcer. Also notice that most of the reaction in it, although there is some acute reaction and some blood vessels and perhaps some acute or chronic inflammatory cells. Here we see feces, don't we? Here we see the remnant of the outer portion of the adventitia or serosa. Here we see some perhaps omental fat. Here we see some blood vessels in the wall of the ulcer. And here we see some smooth muscle kind of leading into it. And what we see here is fibrin, isn't it? Here's some smooth muscle from the duodenum. And now here is a relatively non-ulcerated portion of the duodenum, going all the way from the serosa or adventitia, the longitudinal muscle, circular muscle. Notice it's inflamed here as well, even though it's not ulcerated, into the Brunner glands. And now making our way towards the tip into the mucosa, which you can see here. This is a very deep penetrating duodenal peptic ulcer of the small intestine, and thank you very much.